Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone. Before I get started today, I want to take a moment to address the comments section on Spotify. I used to like seeing people's comments and getting episode suggestions there, but a few days ago, the comments were just flooded with a bunch of people having unrelated conversations, and some of it was inappropriate. I turned off comments on my podcasts because I don't have the capacity to monitor that kind of thing right now. Coincidentally, at the same time people started flooding my comments, my home was flooded. I guess more accurately, my garage. But thankfully, the garage is detached and a bit lower in elevation than my house. So the flash flood covered my backyard and my garage in about 2 feet of water, ruining pretty much everything inside and likely even the garage itself. I'm hoping my insurance can figure out what, if anything, they can do to help me. But as you can imagine, the whole thing has cost me a lot of money and it stinks, literally. Now, I bring this up not to sit and wallow or seek sympathy because I am extremely fortunate in many, many ways. I just wanted to explain why the comments were turned off and give a little reminder to everyone who's listening to just be kind, because everyone you interact with is struggling in ways that you know nothing about. I started this podcast as a way to keep myself focused on the positive, so I thought, what better topic to tackle right now than some uplifting stories of conservation and nature making a comeback? So now, as always, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. The site of the 1986 Chernobyl nuclear disaster is widely known as one of the most contaminated places on Earth. Many people believe that the 1,000 square mile exclusion zone remains a desolate, barren wasteland, but some say that's not the case at all. Rumor has it, since people abandoned the area, plant and animal populations have exploded, showing just how resilient nature can be. The radioactive disaster zone has actually transformed into one of Europe's largest and most thriving wildlife sanctuaries. What do you think? Is this an actual fact or just too good to be true? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Our word for today is rewilding. That's rewilding. Rewilding is a progressive approach to conservation that focuses on restoring areas of land to their natural, uncultivated state. The process often involves reintroduction of apex predators or keystone species that were previously driven out of an area by human activity. The goal is not just to preserve what's left of an ecosystem, but to step back and allow nature to resume its own self-regulating processes without ongoing human management. The term rewilding combines the prefix re, meaning again, with the word wild, signaling a return to a natural state. It was coined in the 1990s by conservationists Michael Soule and Dave Foreman. They introduced the concept to shift the focus of environmental efforts from isolated nature preserves to large, connected ecological networks. Since then, rewilding has become a cornerstone strategy in global ecology, demonstrating that targeted initial interventions can lead to self-sustaining environmental recovery. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about environmental success stories. Number 1. The Earth's ozone layer is on track to fully recover within the next 4 decades. In the 1980s, scientists discovered a massive depletion of ozone over Antarctica, caused by the widespread use of chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs, in aerosols and refrigerants. The international community responded by drafting the Montreal Protocol in 1987. This treaty mandated the gradual phase-out of ozone-depleting chemicals around the world. Every country in the United Nations eventually ratified the agreement, making it one of the most successful environmental treaties in history. Because of this coordinated global action, the ozone layer is visibly repairing itself. A 2023 United Nations-backed scientific assessment confirmed that atmospheric levels of harmful chlorine and bromine are consistently declining. If current policies remain in place, the ozone layer is expected to recover to where it was at in 1980 by the year 2040 for most of the world, and by 2066 over Antarctica. This recovery could prevent millions of cases of skin cancer and protect crops from ultraviolet radiation damage. Number 2. In 1948, an explorer in New Zealand found a bird previously believed to be extinct, and hundreds of other species have made similar comebacks. The Takahe is a flightless bird native to New Zealand. Officials declared the species extinct in 1898 due to overhunting and the introduction of mammalian predators. For half a century, the scientific community considered the bird to be just lost to history. Then, in 1948, the explorer Geoffrey Orbell organized an expedition into the Murchison Mountains. His team located a surviving population of Takahe living in an isolated valley. Following this rediscovery, the New Zealand government launched an intensive multi-decade conservation program. They gathered eggs from the wild, incubated them in specialized facilities, and even used hand puppets shaped like adult birds to feed the chicks in order to prevent them from imprinting on humans. Today, the Takahe population has surpassed 400 individuals, and many of these birds have been relocated to predator-free island sanctuaries and national parks. Now, it would seem that some species can hide from humans for decades. Researchers actually came up with a name to describe this phenomenon. They classify these rediscovered animals as Lazarus taxa. Some examples of Lazarus taxa would include the coelacanth, a fish found in 1938 after scientists thought they had been extinct for 66 million years. Another example would be the Chakawan peccary, which was rediscovered in 1971. Conservationists have documented hundreds of similar cases around the world over the last century. Currently, researchers estimate that more than 350 species have officially had their status upgraded from extinct to still alive. Number 3. The bald eagle population in the United States grew from just 417 nesting pairs in 1963 to over 316,000 individuals today. In the mid-20th century, the United States national bird was pushed to the brink of extinction. Habitat destruction, illegal hunting, and widespread use of the pesticide DDT had decimated the population. DDT contaminated the eagle's food supply and caused the eggshells to thin, resulting in eggs breaking before the chicks could hatch. By 1963, biologists counted fewer than 500 nesting pairs in the lower 48 states. The recovery began with the federal ban on agricultural use of DDT in 1972. The following year, they passed the Endangered Species Act, which provided strict legal protections for the birds and their nesting habitats. State and federal agencies initiated captive breeding programs and relocated healthy eagles to areas where they had disappeared. The population rebounded so successfully that the bald eagle was able to be removed from the endangered species list in 2007. Number 4. A community restoration project in China transformed a barren Dust Bowl region the size of Belgium into a fertile agricultural ecosystem. The Loess Plateau in northern China was once known as the cradle of Chinese civilization, but centuries of overgrazing and poor farming practices had degraded the soil. By the late 20th century, the plateau was a barren landscape prone to severe droughts, floods, and massive dust storms. In 1994, the Chinese government, supported by the World Bank, launched the Loess Plateau Watershed Rehabilitation Project. They enlisted the help of local communities to implement a massive ecological overhaul of the region. Millions of local residents worked to terrace the steep hillsides, which prevented soil erosion and allowed water to absorb into the ground. They planted millions of trees, shrubs, and grasses while simultaneously banning free-roaming livestock from grazing on the fragile new vegetation. Within a decade, the project restored crops to thousands of square miles of land. This ecological revival significantly boosted local farmers' incomes, lifted millions of people out of poverty, and reduced the sediment flowing into the Yellow River. And our fifth and final fun fact for today: when a small fishing village in Mexico decided to stop fishing, they increased their local marine life biomass by more than 460% over a decade. Cabo Pulmo is a small community located on the east coast of Mexico's Baja California Peninsula. By the 1990s, decades of commercial and sport fishing had depleted the local coral reef, leaving the waters largely devoid of fish. Local fishermen recognized the problem, and they actually voluntarily agreed to stop fishing in 1995. They lobbied the Mexican government to declare a 27 square mile area of the ocean as a national marine park. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. Between 1999 and 2009, researchers from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography recorded a 463% increase in the total biomass of fish in the reserve. Apex predators, including bull sharks and tiger sharks, returned in large numbers, indicating a fully restored and healthy food web. The community now sustains its economy entirely through lucrative ecotourism, proving that being environmentally responsible can also be fiscally responsible. And here's a little bonus fact for today on the topic of protecting the oceans. The artist Jason DeCaris Taylor creates some fascinating work. He actually makes sculptures that he puts in the ocean. He creates underwater museums and sculpture gardens that function as protected zones for marine life. He designs his sculptures actually based on local people in the community near the installation site and places them on barren areas of the seafloor to divert tourists away from fragile natural reefs. He builds his sculptures using a pH-neutral marine-grade concrete, and that material encourages coral polyps to attach, creating an artificial reef and a patina that literally brings the sculpture to life. Now for some news you can use. If you want to support nature, you can start in your own backyard. One of the most effective methods is leaving the leaves. Instead of bagging yard waste and sending it to the landfill, you can leave them in designated garden beds or under trees. This provides a critical habitat for local wildlife. Many species of butterflies, moths, native bees, and fireflies rely on fallen leaves to insulate them against freezing temperatures. As the leaves decompose, they also return valuable nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus to the soil. You might also consider replacing a portion of your lawn with native plant species. Turf grass needs a lot of water and provides minimal food or habitat for local insects or birds. Native plants have adapted to the local climate, meaning they're not going to need as much water or other maintenance once they're established. And it's not just about how little they require, they also give a lot back. Native plants provide nectar for pollinators and seeds for birds. And finally, try minimizing or eliminating the use of synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. Chemical treatments often kill beneficial insects along with targeted pests and disrupt local soil ecology. Rainwater runoff carries these chemicals into local storm drains, eventually polluting streams, rivers, and groundwater. Instead of synthetics, you can use organic compost to enrich soil and rely on biological pest control. Attracting natural predators like ladybugs or birds manages pest populations without introducing toxins into the environment. Finally, the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked, is the Chernobyl exclusion zone really a thriving wildlife sanctuary? Oddly enough, that's a fact. The Chernobyl exclusion zone is now one of the most abundant wildlife refuges in all of Europe. After the evacuation of over 100,000 people in 1986, nature quickly reclaimed the abandoned towns and forests. Studies using motion-activated cameras have documented robust populations of brown bears, bisons, wolves, lynx, and horse living within the zone. The scientists have concluded that the everyday pressures of human habitation, like agriculture, logging, and hunting, are actually far more detrimental to wildlife populations than the lingering effects of radiation exposure. Now, I hope you enjoyed these environmental success stories with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.